Here are 23 reasons why you should join Team Future for the most important Splatfest ever. And the final reason is the most game-changing thing I've ever said on my channel. The Grand Festival of Splatoon 3 has been announced, which asks us the question of which is the most important out of the past, present, and future. Nintendo has described this as the biggest Splatfest ever, and yeah, it has a whole trailer to go with it. I predicted this theme 9 months ago, which gave me extra time to come up with reasons why our team is the best. I've made 18 videos on this and have been playing Splatfest for more than 6 years, so I'm a trusted source with these Splatfest. This video is by far the one I have spent the most time, energy, and effort on, and you do not want to miss it. This may be the last time I ever make this time of video for a long time, so I promise I made it amazing for you. So without further ado, let's get on with the reasons to join Team Future! Also, please subscribe. We're aiming for 1,000 subscribers by the end of August, and also, I'm kissing Big Man in 5 days, so you're not gonna want to miss that. The first reason is the colors on each team. I'm gonna be the first to say that the green isn't the best color out there, but I'm also gonna be the first to say that these colors aren't gonna be the same as the ink color we'll be fighting with. I mean, it's the Grand Splatfest. The ink is obviously gonna have some cool effect, and it's definitely not gonna be just a solid green. We see jellies waving sticks of completely different colors, and every color of ink, so there may as well be something more. This could entail a better color for Team Future. My guess is the ink is going to look like sanitized ink, and if so, the green may just be the best. And even if the colors are revealed and we aren't the best, it's okay because you'll be able to go against your favorite color anyway. Here are some things that most people haven't thought of that give Team Future a better case. The next game could be based on the aesthetic of past, present, and future, but the more likely option is that it's a time switch, since Splatoon 3 was referred to as the end of the trilogy. This time change is either going to be 10 years of the future or 100, and there's no in between. That means we don't have to say goodbye to the idols necessarily, and if the past wins, then we'll either be when the Squid Sisters are young, or go way back to the Great Turf War. If Future wins, it could either be a slight time jump or a huge time jump with high tech and everything. The next trilogy could either be exploring the past, present, and future, the winning team being first, or just exploring one of them depending on which team wins, so just 3 games straight of future. Also, a common thing that I'm seeing online is that Splatoon time won't flow with our time if we do a time jump, but that's simply not true. The time is just going to be 20,000 and 100 years into the future instead of just 20,000 years. Nothing will change about the passage of time if the past or future wins. For this reason, I will talk about how a future aesthetic can be the best. We saw a little bit of this during Summer Nights because the neon lights and colors were so cool, but chances are the next Splatoon game will be on the next Nintendo console, and the graphical update will definitely benefit Team Future the most out of all of them. The most realistic approach to the aesthetic will be those images of like futuristic Japan mixed with cyberpunk. If you're a Splatoon fan, you would know almost everything in Splatoon is based on Japanese culture. In history, we have only found out more about the past in recent times, which means going into the future can help us discover our past. Obviously, if we're in the past, we will know more, but we can still discover a lot by going into the future. Now it's time for the idols. Usually, I spend this section of the video trying to convince why either Shiver, Fry, or Big Man are the best. But luckily, I don't have to do that this time around because they're all on the same team. You may be skeptical about joining Team Future because you don't like Deep Cut, but actually, Deep Cut winning is the best case scenario. Let me explain. Pearl and Marina got so much lore between 2 DLCs, and Callie and Marie have been prevalent in all 3 story modes. Although Callie is best girl, it's clear that we need more time with Deep Cut because their lore is so underutilized, and Nintendo clearly has greater intentions with their characters. There's so much we don't know about them that we can know. Of course, they are considered the worst because they haven't got the time to build up like the other 2 have. But let's not forget, Off the Hook was only really liked after Octo Expansion and Side Order. And Deep Cut art is still amazing. I am going to be kissing Big Man in 5 days for a reason. Being based on different cultures and different poisons is such a great idea, and I hope we can find more about their families in Splatoon 4. Also, we're not voting on the idols, we're voting for the future of the game, and if they wanted to do an idol Splatfest, they would. Next, in all of the special Splatfests so far, the third team option has won. Team Ghost, Team Solo, Team Bear, and Team Beach has all won their given Splatfest. The only special Splatfest left is the Grand Festival, and the third option for the Grand Festival is Team Future. But it is also true that Big Man has won every Splatfest and technically not the third option. But Big Man is on Team Future, baby! Yeah! Rise up! Another reason of wanting a futuristic Splatoon 4 is that it would have the best villain. If past wins, the chances the villain will just be a past version of Octavio, and if present wins, it's implied that the villain may be Marigold based on clues from Splatoon 3. However, if the future wins, my best guess is Lil Judd. Okay, hear me out, because although Lil Judd runs Grizz Co right now, he is not prevalent enough to immediately be a villain right away. There is also the possibility of robots or a completely new villain, but the problem with villains if there was a world-ending villain in the past, we probably would have heard about them already, and if present wins, they have to think of something completely different that still makes sense within the context of Splatoon 1, 2, and 3. Future gives the most creative freedom because they could do a villain from now or a villain that only came to be in the future. I'm going to go back to the idols because Deep Cut makes so much sense as the future because they are the future. They are not like other idols because they're literally bandits, and they are the first ones to really push the buttons and change up the music. Not to mention they're younger. The rep of cultures also help with that, and that the cultures can coexist. They break the tradition because that's what the future entails. Obviously, the Squid Sisters are a thing of the past, and that's why they make sense, but everything Deep Cut stands for is the future. Now, let's debunk everything that has been said about a past set Splatoon. First, everything in the Great Turf War is already set in stone. We know what happens. We know the Inklings lost the first battle because they couldn't get up early in the morning. We know the second battle was won by the Inklings when the Octarian mechanical mechanisms malfunctioned, and the only battle we don't really know about is the last one. If we go that route, there's not much creativity to go from. Not to mention, any time after the Great Turf War, that there are no Octolings, and most players are Octolings, and it would probably be a pretty big deal if they couldn't play as one anymore. There's also Turf War, ranked modes, and possibly no Salmon Run if we go this route. What else is there to do? The only part I can get behind is the aesthetic. No past, I'm not done with you. The past also does not matter. Nothing in the past you can change. The thing is, the past is very important because in order to move forward into the future, you need to acknowledge the past. But if the future wasn't important, you wouldn't want to move forward and acknowledge the past in the first place. So, that just proves the future is more important. Next, procrastination is agreed upon to be bad. This is because a relaxing present is never worth a stressful future. This isn't just for procrastination. It can go for a lot of things, actually. It's always worth it to make a better future for yourself instead of having the freedom to do nothing in the present. One example is me saying this right now. I'm not saying this because I just like to talk. I'm saying this so the video turns out well. We are always focused on the future. It is what makes us human. If you're eating something bad, that won't matter to you in the moment. It will only matter to you in the future. So we always value the future over the present. The future presents so much mystery, and has the most important questions tied to it, which makes it so interesting. Of course, the questions that we all have, like about the afterlife, or what's going to happen next for us, or if Taco Bell is ever going to bring back the nacho fries. But there's also even other meaningful questions, like, do we control the future, or is it already set in stone? That is what's crazy about the future, because we don't know how time works, or if time is even real. We know how time worked in the past, but the only part in time that is unknown to us is the future, and I, along with other people, find that very interesting. Now let's debunk how a good Splatoon 4 set in the present will be, because it's not very good. It will actually be very boring. What can we do? Visit an island, then have the same game again? What new features come from just more of the same thing? It will just be a different story, which would be weird because we're also still in the same time period as the same story we've already had. It would also be weird seeing there be another new hotspot that everyone just moves into, because that will be overdone by the time it happens again. Team Present is just boring, and the only reason people are really voting for it is out of fear that we're going to have to say goodbye to the characters, and Pearl and Marina, which isn't that good of a reason. No, I'm not done with you either, Team Present. We're never even in the present for more than right now. The present is ever changing, and the present now isn't the same one as when I started saying that sentence. The present is really just the future now, set in place or decided upon. Like, for example, a Splatfest. If the present is the time of the results, we are really in the future of before we knew the results. However, now, the decisions we have made have been set in stone and cannot change anymore. This is kind of confusing, but you know, you get the gist of it. Next, whenever you are in a dark time in your life, the only thing you have to do is look forward towards the future and how it will be better. You work towards the future, which not only distracts you, but also builds towards hope, towards a brighter tomorrow, and eventually gets you out of whatever situation you're in. AKA, the future fixes the present. Or, looking towards the future fixes the present. Also, let's not forget Mr. Grizz's final words. Roll the clip. Now, let's resurface to what a futuristic next installment in the Splatoon franchise would be about. This story has such a great chance of being good. With the past, it will answer questions, but in the future, it creates questions about what happened before, and that will be the entire plot of Splatoon 4, probably, because if everything we knew about suddenly disappeared, that would be pretty weird, and the goal would be to slowly piece together what happened between Splatoon 3 and 4 to figure out why everything is the way it is. Maybe along the way we can meet new characters, and we can find the mastermind behind all this change. Doesn't that sound great? Maybe you could even visit the ruins of places from the previous games, and they'll look like those cool AI photos. There's also the possibility of a virtual reality plotline, or maybe even robots taking over. All this that I just mentioned is much cooler than anything they could come up with in the present, and honestly, might be even cooler than the Great Turf War. Also, if Future wins, the end of the World Splatfest could be foreshadowing. Before we get to the next reason, I would like to please remind you guys that I will be kissing Big Men in 5 days. Friday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You're going to want to be there. It's going to be a live stream, we'll have games, and all that stuff. It's going to be so cool. Save the date. Next, the Splatoon series is already set to 20,000 years in the future. The setting of the future is already the entire basis of the game. If the plot in Splatoon 1, 2, and 3 points towards any team being the right option, that would be Team Future. Next, Modern won in all 3 categories in the Retro vs. Modern Splatfest in Splatoon 2. That's all I have to say. Before the finale, let's find out some words from other people on this exact issue. Let's hear why other people chose their team.
My biggest reason for joining Team Future is obviously I really care about my future. I want to have a good future, and I can make choices right now to shape it in the way I want. But that doesn't mean that I don't care about the present. I still cherish the moments in the present, but you know, future is still important to me. Because, you know, deep cut, yeah, thanks.
Why I'm joining Team Pass? It's not because I like the Squid Sisters, although I do. The reason why I'm joining Team Pass is just think of all the lore. Think of fighting in the Great Turf War. Think of meeting young Captain Cuttlefish, young DJ Octavio. Just think of all the lore we can find out and be in at the same time. Future, yeah, it's cool and all, but that leaves us with more questions than answers. Present, you're just born. But if we just be in past together, if we win the Splatfest on the Team Pass, think of all the lore we can find and be in. That's why I'm joining Team Past.
The reason why I chose Team Future for the Grand Festival is because since the Splatfest results will affect the idols, I think the character is in need of more lore, seeing the fact that the other idols already got the story mode focused on them.
I'm Joey Gaming, and I think you should join Team Future, because the past and the present all lead up to the future anyways in the end. So, the future is what you should be thinking about the most. Speaking of future, if this Final Fest dictates about what Splatoon 4 will be about, I think we should mainly think about what we want for Splatoon 4, and some type of future story mode would be really cool. That's all from me.
I'm reading this for them. Hello, I'm Octoleo, and I wanted to tell y'all why I'm on Team Present. First of all, I just love Off the Hook. And second, I think you can make mistakes in the present that could worsen the future. Third, the purple color that they use looks really good. Last, it's second place team in population, which can affect mirror matches, and it's easier to find teammates. Now, before the most meaningful thing I've ever said in one of my videos ever, I would like you guys to please subscribe. I know I've said it a couple times already, but do it, do it, do it! For the first part of the finale, let's talk about how we are going to win. Firstly, in polls, the Team Present is winning, meaning they're going to be in mirror match hell. Secondly, Team Future is closely popular, meaning we still have a chance at winning popularity in conch shells. I'm pretty convinced Team Pass will not be winning because in both Callie vs Marie and Chaos vs Order, the most popular team has won. But I still think the second most popular team still has a chance because there are 3 options this time around, but last time there was only 2. Also, this Splatfest happened before, and Future was the most popular. Also, I have won 10 out of 18 Splatfests, which is even more than half. Considering I won the Final Fest last time, and the chance of winning a Splatfest is 6 out of 18, or 1/3, my guess is that I'm usually pretty spot on. On top of being the third option and a bunch of other factors, it's pretty safe to say that Team Future is going to have a solid chance of winning. Next, I would like to talk about the new features that could be in Splatoon 4 if Future wins, or if it's called something different besides Splatoon 4. Teleportation and time travel strike me as one. Maybe more evolved Inklings can emerge since they evolve faster than normal. Wind tunnels would also be cool, and just high-tech stages which helps the game feel more fast-paced. Maybe there could even be a new species. If Past wins, the only thing I could think of is maybe less evolved Inklings, but I'm not really sure how that could work. In short, for good new stuff in the game, vote Team Future. The final reason is the most important reason I have made in any of these videos. The future of Splatoon is at stake. One of the major problems with Splatoon 3 is that not enough changed, and honestly, I'm worried. When going from one game to the next, there always needs to be that thing that makes it amazing. With Future, there's the most room for this, and is really the only option that can grant that. As a Splatoon fan, aren't you tired of people online making fun of the game, treating it as not a real shooter, or Splatoon 2.5, or aren't you tired of your friends not joining up because there's just not that feature that's right for them yet? All of this stuff is the most glaring issue with Splatoon. There's not enough change, especially when the whole theme of Side Order was to embrace change. I'm aware that I said Team Order can finally get their aesthetic in, but in reality, Team Future is chaotic, and that's a good thing. We don't know what the future has in store for us, but we can have hope that it will be good. If you join Team Future, you will be joining out of hope for the future of the game, and that Splatoon will assert itself as a real Nintendo franchise, and more importantly, a real game. So, If you need something fresh and new, and something people will take seriously while it is still what you love, cast your vote for Team Future, and together, we will win the most important Splatfest ever, and take back the Splatoon franchise. But, what do you think? Here is a reminder that on August 2nd, I will be kissing a cardboard cutout of Big Man on livestream. You're gonna want to be there to see it because he is massive, and we'll have games, Q&As, and my face reveal. The goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. Do you think we could do it? So, to end this series how it started, that was a philosophical essay to get you back into the hell that we call school. You could play with me in the pool code Fakesome for this Splatfest. I hope to see you there, and I hope to see you on Team Future! And for possibly the last time ever, thanks for watching.